There is no such thing as a loser who wakes up at 5 a.m. In this video, we're going to talk through 5 actionable strategies for how to become a morning person. Let's go. All right, confession. I am not a morning person, at least not naturally. For most of my life, I was one of those people that had to be dragged out of bed by my mom. I would hit the snooze button 100 times and just generally hated the mornings. But when I got to college, I realized that something had to change. I was there on a baseball scholarship, and we had early morning practices. I could no longer hit the snooze button. I could no longer require being dragged out of bed because I had to wake up and perform at baseball practice, and then after that, going to class and having a full day where I had to be alert and on. I realized that I had to change something. I had to become a morning person, that dreaded thing that so many people had that I just thought I didn't have. I developed 5 strategies that have helped me turn from a night owl into a morning person. These 5 strategies are things that you can put to work for free that will allow you to completely change the way that you wake up in the morning and the way that you feel throughout your days. Once I started waking up early, I realized that I was never gonna go back. Since then, I've had a 4 a.m. alarm basically every single day since my college years. I realized that those early morning hours just had certain special properties. No one's bothering you. There's no texts, there's no emails, there's no requests from people, there's no one nagging you. You can just focus on you. You can focus on the most important things in your life and make dramatic progress before anyone else is awake. Strategy 1. Create a repeatable evening routine. Becoming a morning person is not about the mornings, at least not entirely. You need to create an evening routine that sets you up for your morning, that sets you up to hit the ground running, and that sets you up to fall asleep quickly at night. There's 2 pieces to this for me. The first one is that every night I spend 15 minutes preparing for whatever my first focused task of the morning is going to be. That means that I'll sit down and actually get the ball rolling on that task. If I know I have some piece of writing that I need to do the next morning that's going to be my focus, I'll actually pull up that document and jot down a few bullets that are going to get me rolling the next day. Whatever it is to actually reduce the friction of starting that first morning focused task. That allows you to hit the ground running and to actually accelerate when you start the next morning. The second piece here is actually finding a way to help you unwind at the end of the day. The tool that I use for this is what I call my 1-1-1 journaling method. At the end of every evening, I sit down with a piece of paper and write down 3 things. 1 win from the day, 1 point of gratitude, and 1 point of tension, anxiety, or stress. The idea is pretty simple. Journaling is really good for you, but most people won't take the time to journal. The 1-1-1 method takes 2 to 5 minutes max, and it's a great way to get the ideas off your brain and onto a piece of paper. The win makes you feel good about the day. The point of gratitude reminds you to be grateful for all of the good things that you have in your life. And the point of tension, stress, or anxiety gets it off your brain and onto the paper so that you can fall asleep more easily. Doing those 2 things before you go to bed at night sets you up for a more efficient and effective morning. Strategy number 2. Move your alarm clock. This is a pretty simple one. Take your alarm clock from being at your bedside table and move it into a nearby room. I put my phone, which is my alarm clock, in the bathroom, which is about 10 to 15 feet from bed. The point here is to make it difficult to snooze. The snooze button is your worst enemy when it comes to becoming a morning person. Trust me, I've been there. I've pressed the snooze button hundreds and hundreds of times. If it's easy to press, you will press it, because when you're trying to become a morning person, it hurts waking up early in the morning. So make it difficult to press that button. If you put your alarm clock in another room, you'll have to get out of bed to go and turn it off. Once you're up, once your feet are on the ground, chances are you will not press the snooze button and get back into bed, especially because you've now turned that snooze button from something that was a subconscious decision, lying there in bed and pressing it, into something that has to be rational and conscious. You won't press the snooze button if you have to get out of bed. By the way, the number 1 concern I get when I tell people to do this is that they'll wake up their spouse or their sleeping children. If you put the alarm clock on quietly and it's in another room, you know that it's going to go off, so you'll hear it, but they won't. I have a light sleeper of a wife and a baby sleeping nearby, and I've never had an issue with it. Put your alarm clock in another room to make it hard to snooze and more likely that you get up when you say you're gonna get up. Strategy number 3, use my 5-5-5-30 method. One of the biggest challenges when you're trying to become a morning person is not having energy in the morning. Giving yourself a jolt of energy is the quickest way to do it. A lot of people try to do that with caffeine, but caffeine takes like 30 minutes to hit your bloodstream and actually drive any energy boost. Movement is much faster. 5-5-5-30 is my method for getting that jolt of energy. It's 5 push-ups, 5 squats, 5 lunges, and a 30-second plank. It takes 2 to 3 minutes total, and you immediately get a burst of energy into your body that gives you a winning sensation to start the day. Not only that, but it's good for you. When you move to start the day, you get your metabolism rolling, you get your energy rolling, and you just start to feel like a winner. It's a great way to start your day that can make a huge difference. Oh, and a pro tip here, do not do 5-5-5-30 next to your bed with a sleeping spouse or partner in it. Terrible idea, would not recommend. Strategy number 4, front load your energy creators. Again, one of the biggest challenges with waking up early is energy. If you can front load things that create energy for you naturally, you'll have a much better time waking up early and becoming a morning person. It could be that working out is something that brings you a lot of energy. Well, then work out first thing in the morning. Bring your workout to the front load that energy creator. If you're going to do focused work first thing in the morning, make sure you're working on things that you're excited about. I would never want to wake up early to work on things that I'm dreading. That's a bad idea. When you're trying to flip the switch, when you're trying to become a morning person, you want to have some intrinsic motivation to wake up early in the morning. That means front loading work that you're excited about. The big creative project, the side hustle, the workout, whatever it is that you're excited to do first thing in the morning, make sure you're front loading those energy creators so that you have that intrinsic motivation to start your day. And finally, strategy number 5, go to bed earlier. I'm sorry, this may seem obvious, but somehow it does get overlooked in the pursuit of becoming a morning person. If you're gonna wake up earlier, it can't just be that you're sleeping less. You need to go to bed earlier. You still need to be getting that 7 to 8 hours if you want to perform at your best, both mentally and physically. I used to be one of those sleep when I'm dead type people. And what I realized is that sleep when I'm dead mentality is actually just a great way to end up dead much earlier. You don't perform at your best when you don't sleep. So if you're going to become a morning person, you have to find a way to structure your life to go to bed earlier. If you set the time when you're going to be waking up, say it's 5 a.m., that means that to get 8 hours of sleep, you need to be asleep by 9 p.m. Create a wind down routine for the evenings. Set up your bedroom to be conducive to going to sleep at those earlier times. Get blackout shades. Make the room cool. Get a white noise machine. Take a warm shower or a sauna before going to bed. Read some light fiction. Whatever it takes for you to wind down and be in an environment where you can go to sleep earlier. That will allow you to wake up earlier and to hit the ground running and feel great when you wake up in the morning. If you're someone that struggles with falling asleep or with insomnia, like I used to, try the 4-7-8 breathing method. Breathe in for a 4 count, hold for a 7 count, and breathe out for an 8 count. It triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and recovery part of your nervous system. That triggers you to calm down, to rest and recover. Oftentimes when you're struggling to sleep, it's because your mind is racing, your stress levels are built up, you're tense, you're anxious. That's all your fight or flight response. The 4-7-8 breathing method allows you to relax. It gives you that feeling of calmness that allows you to fall asleep. It's really helped me on some of those nights where I was staring up at the ceiling and struggling to fall asleep. So that's the final and arguably the most important tip. Go to bed earlier. If you do that, you'll be in a much better place to wake up early and hit the ground running, to experience all of the benefits of those early morning hours. The focus, the peace, the calm, the ability to do the things that you need to do to drive your life forward and build towards your vision for the future. We'll finish where we began. There's no such thing as a loser who wakes up at 5 a.m. Waking up early is the easiest way to improve your odds of success. That is something I fundamentally believe, because waking up early is hard. And when you do that one hard thing to start your day, you start to identify as a winner. You start to feel like a winner, and that has ripple effects into every other area of your life. It doesn't mean that you can't be successful if you aren't a morning person, but it does mean that if you're struggling and you don't don't like where you are in life, trying to become a morning person can be that tiny catalyst that propels you in the direction of your dreams, that propels you towards the future life that you want and that you deserve. If you develop the discipline to wake up early, you are a winner. Full stop. You may or may not be able to see it yet, but that discipline muscle that you're building is going to pay dividends in so many other areas of your life. Now, it's your turn. Take these 5 actionable strategies and go become a morning person. In the next 30 days, try to implement them and see the impact that it can have in your life. If you liked this, you'll love some of my other videos that you can find here, which break down some of my routines and practices for living a high-performance lifestyle. Until next time, as always, stay curious, friends.